So if you're in the data world, you know the power of a solid SQL engine, right? It's the bedrock. It's structured, it's reliable, but what happens when your data gets, well, a little out of control? When it's too big or too messy or just plain weird? That's when we have to start talking about the data lake. Specifically, when and why you'd use it for jobs you've always trusted to SQL.
All right, here's what we're going to cover in this explainer. We'll start with the big showdown, SQL engine versus the data lake. Then we'll dive into what a data lake is actually for. We'll figure out the most efficient place to clean your data, look at how to transform and orchestrate the whole process, and then we'll wrap it all up with the key trade-offs you need to know. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's kick things off with the question that really frames this whole conversation. It's the classic battle, the traditional, super reliable SQL engine, facing off against the newer, massive-scale data lake.
For years, decades really, the answer to almost any data problem was, just put it in a SQL database. And hey, for good reason. But data has changed. So when does that trusty tool start to, hit its limits?
This right here really nails down the sweet spot for each one. Your SQL engine is an absolute beast with smaller, frequent updates, think micro batches, and when lots of people need to query the data at once. But when you're talking about huge batch files or all sorts of different data types like JSON or logs, or you just need a place to land raw, untouched data, that's where the data lake shines. Trying to cram massive, unstructured files into a traditional SQL database, it's just not what it was built for. It's going to be slow and it's going to be expensive.
So that brings us perfectly to our next point. If the SQL engine isn't always the answer, what's the data lake's job in a modern setup? What problem is it actually here to solve?
And this right here is my favorite analogy for it. It just makes so much sense. A data mart or a warehouse is like bottled water. It's been filtered, purified, packaged, it's ready to go. The data lake? Well, that's the actual lake. It's the source. It's vast. It's in its natural state. You wouldn't drink straight from it, but having access to the entire lake gives you endless possibilities for what you can do with that water later on.
Now, there's a big misconception that a data lake is just a data swamp, a chaotic mess where you just dump files. Not at all. A well-designed lake is actually very organized. It has layers of curation, taking data from its raw, natural state and refining it step by step until it's ready for analysis.
Let's look inside these layers. First up, the raw layer. Think of this as your ultimate safety net. It's an exact, unchangeable copy of your source data. If a pipeline breaks or something goes wrong down the line, you can always come back here and start over. Next, you move to the clean layer. This is where you do the first pass of tidying up, standardizing data types, filtering out obvious errors, getting it ready for the real work. And finally, you get to the transformed layer. This is where the magic happens. Here you apply your business logic, you join different data sets together, and you shape everything into those nice, clean facts and dimensions that your analysts can actually use.
Okay, so we get the layers. But this brings up a really practical question. Where should we actually do the work of cleaning that raw data? Do we do it right there in the lake, or should we pull it into our SQL engine to do the cleaning?
And this is such a critical decision. It directly impacts your costs, your speed, everything. The core question is, do you move the data to your tools or do you bring your tools to the data? And the answer, as you probably guessed, really depends on the data you're working with.
This table is basically your cheat sheet. If you're dealing with standard tabular data, clean CSVs, stuff that looks like a spreadsheet, your SQL engine is a great choice. The functions are powerful, and your team probably already knows them. But, and this is the big one, for really large or complex files, it's way more efficient to clean the data inside the lake using a tool like Databricks. And the reason is simple. You avoid the nightmare of moving terabytes of data around, and you get to tap into the massive power of parallel processing with engines like Spark.
So why something like Databricks? Well, the advantages are huge. First off, it's a polyglot, meaning you can use Spark SQL, Python, R, Scala, whatever's best for the specific task. Second, and we just touched on this, you process the data where it lives. That is a massive performance win. Third, it's built for scale. It can easily spread the work across gigantic files. And last but not least, it's cost-effective. You're not using up your expensive, high-performance analytical SQL engine to do basic data janitor work. You save that horsepower for what it's best at, running those complex analytical queries.
So we've talked about cleaning individual files, but what about managing the entire process, the whole pipeline? From pulling the raw data all the way to serving up those final transform tables? Well, that's where orchestration comes in.
The modern way of doing this is called ELT,
extract, load, and then transform. This kind of flips the old-school ETL model right on its head. Instead of transforming data before you load it, you first dump the raw data into a super scalable system, like a data lake. All the transformation happens afterwards using the power and flexibility of cloud compute.
But wait, how do all these different services, the data lake, the cleaning jobs in Databricks, the final load into a SQL warehouse, how do they all talk to each other and work together? Well, that's the job of an orchestrator. And in the Azure world, Azure Data Factory, or ADF, is a perfect example. Think of it as the conductor of your data orchestra.
So ADF is the one pulling all the strings. First, it handles extracting the source data and loading it into the lake. Then, it orchestrates the transformation. It might kick off a Databricks notebook for that heavy lifting, and then call a SQL stored procedure for some final business rules. Finally, once everything is clean and transformed, it manages serving that data up for analysis. It conducts the entire performance from beginning to end.
All right, we have covered a lot of ground. So let's zoom out and bring it all together by looking at the key things you need to think about when you're designing your own data pipelines.
Really? This is your takeaway checklist. For any project, just ask these 4 questions. First, how big is the data? If you're talking billions of rows, you're going to want the scalability of a data lake. Second, what's the structure like? Is it nice and neat, or is it a wild mix of JSON, text, and who knows what? The messier it is, the more you need the lake. Third, how often does it arrive? Tiny, frequent updates can work well in a SQL engine, but massive, once-a-day files? That is tailor-made for the lake. And finally, always think about the cost. Use the right tool for the job. Don't burn expensive compute cycles on simple cleaning tasks.
So, as we wrap up, I just want to leave you with this one question. Think about your own data setup. Is your data already nicely packaged in bottled water, all clean and ready to go? Or are you managing a vast, natural lake of information? Just figuring out which one you have, and more importantly, which one you need, is the absolute first step to building a modern, efficient data platform.
And that's our look at data cleaning and transformation in the data lake. Hey, if you found this useful, we'd really appreciate it if you'd like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives like this one. Thanks so much for your time.